Is very near and dear to my heart. And when I told my daughter that I was going to tell this story this morning, she says, "Mom, you better not cry in front of all those people." But to get started, and I'll continue my introduction, I want you to all have a piece of chocolate because I love chocolate. And this story that I wrote is about our chocolate lab, Harley. We got Harley as a rescue lab when he was 4 years old. I got him sight unseen. My husband said, "This is a good dog for us." And the first time I saw Harley, he jumped out of my husband's truck. And I said, "Oh my goodness, that dog is huge. What have we done? This is going to be like having another teenager in the house." The insatiable hunger, the excessive sleeping, the unruly hair. But things turned out beautifully. So what I did was I wrote a story about the weird and the wonderful Harley, based on true events. Once upon a time, on a farm in Mississippi, Harley Davidson, the chocolate lab, was born. He was born to prize-winning Labrador parents, whose puppies were sought after throughout the world. Harley's fur was the color of dark chocolate, and it shone as if it was bathed in moonlight. His ears and coat were like healing magnets. People young and old could not walk past without petting and rubbing his soft and silky ears. But Harley was not a typical lab. Most labs like to fetch and swim and wrestle and play, but not Harley. If you threw a ball, he would stand there and look at you and look at the ball with a puzzled look on his face. If you tried to get him to swim, he would walk or run in the opposite direction. If other dogs wanted to wrestle and play, Harley would come and sit by his mom, and she would rub his soft and silky ears. Harley's oddities did not go unnoticed by the villagers. They would say hurtful things like, "What kind of lab is this that doesn't swim or fetch?" Or, "He isn't even a dog." Or, "Oh, look, he has to run to his mommy because he doesn't like to play with other dogs." Or the worst of all, "He looks so depressed. You know there's medication for that." When these comments were made, Harley would simply go sit by his mom, and she would rub his soft and silky ears. Then, one day, something happened that turned Harley's weird into wonderful. On that day, Harley was left home with a contractor so his mom could run errands. Shortly thereafter, the rough and tough contractor called Harley's mom and said, "The dog was barking and growling, and he's about to attack me." The gentle giant had spoken. As it turned out, the contractor was wanted for robbery in several states. Now, Harley was a hero. After that, Harley became famous and sought after for a variety of detective jobs. Neighbors would call and have Harley come over and sniff out contractors, babysitters, and cleaning ladies before they hired him. Even dads would have Harley come over and sniff their daughters' dates before they go out. Harley even learned to talk. When you rubbed his soft and silky ears, he would moan and groan. But when his mom would rub his soft and silky ears, he would moan, murm. This delighted the children, And from that day forward, Mom became Merm and is Merm to this day. With all of the accolades and a new fan club, Harley received many dog treats and even more ear rubs. But what Harley loved most of all was when he would sit by his Merm and she would rub his soft and silky ears. Madam Toastmaster.